about the Sunshine Law in Missouri and wanted to give you all an update. I really appreciate all of the well wishes during the day on everything. I know I couldn't respond to everybody because I was working hard, but I just wanted to give you all an update now that we're done. We actually did the argument over the internet. It was the first time that I've ever done an appellate argument online, but obviously in the times that we're in, I really do appreciate the court and the court staff for setting that up, making sure that we could all be there. And I really do appreciate all of the folks who wrote briefs in support of our position, including the ACLU of Missouri, the Sunshine and Accountability Project, the Freedom Center, and the Missouri Press Association. That really meant a lot. And thank you to everybody who was out there too. So today, the way it works is when you go to an appellate court, you lose a trial or you don't like the trial court decision, then you go and you appeal. That's what happens. So in this situation, I asked the governor back in 2018 for records of communications between his office and these 27 groups and individuals that I found were connected to a dark money scheme in Missouri. For those of you who do not know, I've been investigating dark money for quite some time, and it's why I started running for Attorney General in the first place, because my view is that the Attorney General should be the one protecting us from these fake charities that are trying to buy our elections without us seeing who's doing the buying. And if you wonder why our policies in Missouri aren't so great, oftentimes you can trace that right back to the money. You follow the money, but the problem is with dark money, it's really hard to follow. So I've been investigating it quite a bit, and this led me to asking the governor for all these records under Missouri's Sunshine Law. That's our public transparency law. So I asked for these records, and the governor said, sure, I've got a ton of them. I'm like, well, that's a lot more than I thought you would have. I have a whole lot of these emails, over 13,000 of them, but you are going to have to pay us over $3,600 and charged me for an attorney to go through all of these records and have me pay for it. Which means that the government was asserting that the public, when we ask for public records, could be charged attorney's fees by our government. That would significantly limit transparency just to those people who can afford transparency. And I think that's very wrong. Obviously, I was just in court working on that. So I ended up asking the governor to reconsider. I asked the Attorney General to investigate. It's the Attorney General's job to investigate violations of Missouri Sunshine Law. The Attorney General never responded. The governor didn't change his mind. We went to court, and lo and behold, the Attorney General came in to represent the governor against me. So the Attorney General's in the position that we should be able to charge these attorneys' fees to folks. The governor, obviously, in that same position, and we're seeing that crop up in different government entities all across the state, which is very wrong. So I argue that it was wrong. The trial court, for the first time that a court has looked at this and has actually decided that this should be charged or not charged. I mean, this was the first case that has ever decided that you can charge attorney's fees for this stuff. 3 other courts have agreed with me, and now we're in the Court of Appeals, so we'll see what they decide to do. But we asked a lot of questions, answered a lot of questions, and everything was going back and forth, and it actually worked really well online. It's a little strange to do it over the internet. And you hope a judge doesn't drop off, or you hope that they can hear you, or sometimes, there's static or something. But thankfully, everything worked out, and the arguments were heard. So I don't know what the timeline is. This usually takes at least a few months, but it could be shorter, could be a little bit longer for us to get a decision and figure out what we're going to do from there. But the Sunshine Law is very important. It's one that's been with our state for a long time. It's one that was part of a movement in different states to increase transparency in our government, especially after the Nixon administration, because there were some issues there. So we didn't want that to repeat. We wanted the public to be able to access records, and a lot of folks fought really, really hard to make sure that in Missouri, we, the people, would be able to hold our government accountable by checking out what those public records are. Now, some folks, for example, our auditor, Nicole Galloway, she's actually put up a website where you can just access public records. You think about technology today, and it's a bit easier to do that than having to go to, some film and print it out from there. But we've got the technology to be more transparent now, and I hope more folks in our government decide to do that. Unfortunately, I have obviously seen a lot of resistance from our government, and I've been fighting it, and I will continue to fight for all of us to make sure that we can hold our government accountable, because that's what we should have in our government already. That's why the Attorney General's office is so important, and is so important in this election, because we need an Attorney General who's going to hold these other folks accountable and who's going to make sure that our government serves us, not just folks who have a lot of money and power and oftentimes don't even live in this state. So that's what happened today. It was a good argument, and we'll see where we go from there. But if you do have any questions, go ahead, put them in the comments. You can put them on Twitter, wherever you are. I'm going to get through all of these. I've got a few things to do this afternoon, but I'm going to try to get to as many of you as possible. But I just really wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciate you being here with me. And like I always say, I'm always here for you. So thank you. If you'd like to get involved and help us out, we're doing a lot of work around the state. Service work. I mean, this kind of work I'm trying to keep as separate from the campaign as possible, but obviously this is a big political situation, and we've made, for some reason, transparency in government is now a partisan issue. I don't know why, but it unfortunately has become one. So if you think it shouldn't, if you think that we need some change in our government, if you think that we should be able to trust those people that we're sending there, and not just trust them, but also make sure that there is an accountability system in place so that we're not just buying these lies from people and then have nothing to do about it. If you think that we need some pretty significant change to make sure our government actually works, check us out. So my name's Elad Gross. I'm running for Attorney General of Missouri, and you can find us right here at eladgross.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're all over the place. So check us out, and hope to see you out there. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.